So, I ordered this 12 volt brick online. I ordered it on eBay. Hadn't ordered any power supplies from eBay yet, so first thing I noticed when I got it is there's no light on here, control light. It does say it's 12 volts and 6 amps, which is what I ordered. Very common made in China label. Anyways, this unit arrived, it didn't work, and as I said, I noticed it didn't have a light on it, and what the light does is it illuminates when you reach your voltage. So they shipped me another one, and of course, like I do with all things that don't work, I took it apart. So I opened it up, and the first thing I notice when I open it up is it's dirty, right? So if you turn it over and you look at the circuit board, you'll see it's got some abrasions on it. There's this really lousy solder job right here, and when you turn it over, you also notice that there's some corrosion in the corner and on the back of this. It looks almost like it had been sitting in water. So then I notice these two cables right here that have been cut off. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, somebody used it on the bench. So I put it all back together, and as I'm putting it back together, I notice the other side, and this is the plug, and as I'm putting it back in, what do I see behind the plug? A plug. This unit's used. What they're doing is buying shells and taking salvage power supplies of whatever rating they find, I guess, and putting them in this case. So, let's look at the replacement. So this is the one we were just looking at, and said it's got this dual power supply model. And basically they took this out of something and cut off the wires and left this plug on and put a new plug on and put it in this larger case and resold it with a new label. Okay, no idea. Now, some good news about this, if it was working, it does have an AC side and a DC side with an air gap in between, and it goes to this coil. So in terms of design, I don't know if it has voltage protection, voltage regulation, but if the AC side blows up, it does have some isolation to the DC side. So this is the replacement. The replacement, in fact, does put out 12 volts. So I just had it down on the bench and I took the cover off. And first thing you see is it looks different. AC side, DC side. But this one had some interesting features that are probably more dangerous in some ways. So the first thing you'll notice is if you take it out, it's in better condition than the other one was. It's not quite as dirty, but it does have the cables cut off again. So there's the two cables that were the original DC out. But this is what the disturbing side was. This one doesn't have the plug, but those are two AC wires, and notice how close together they are. So here's the question. Normally they have a fuse. The fuse goes right in the corner. I actually don't see the fuse. The fuse would be on, it's an AC fuse that they normally have. So the fuse on this unit, it's this brown unit right here according to the label. But, if these two touched, I would be reliant on that fuse to cut out. So again, this is a recycled one. These labels might be from this installation or the previous one. I said it doesn't look quite like it was in as much water, but you can see the wear and the corrosion on the surface from it's years old. I don't see a manufacturing date on it. This one does have some labels. So in an end state, these were advertised as new online. They're not. They're recycled. They're out of their original containment and in these, and no telling the true design of them. Again, this one does have, you can see the air gap in here. So at least it has that feature. Does it have short protection? No idea. It definitely doesn't have an illuminating light telling you when it gets to voltage. Funny thing is, I don't see on this one or the other one, I don't see where that was installed, and it's kind of not a common feature. Anyways, power supplies for LEDs continue to be a challenge. You know, you look at the labels on these things. This is a common label. I've taken apart these units before, and the ones I've taken apart were new inside. They have the illumination light, but this one definitely is not. And I bought it as an experiment, and hey, I'm going to experiment and not getting hurt by one of these. So as you look at power supplies, you know, pay attention to what you're buying. You don't know what's inside the black box. That's what it comes down to. And you know, you shouldn't have to pay $100 for a little power supply like this, but you know, spending a couple of bucks, you're going to get what you pay for in one form or another.